Today, I want to talk to you about saying yes to yourself, about taking one more step towards your calling. Have you ever felt this deep pull towards something that is really meaningful to you, like starting your own business or taking a sabbatical, writing a book, or opening that cozy little cafe that you've always dreamed about, but your life already feels way too full? Like, who are you to take on one more thing when you're already juggling so much and your partner and your kids, they already feel like they don't get enough of you? I get it. I've been there. I am there. And today, I want to talk to you about saying yes anyway, about following that quiet inner calling even when it doesn't seem to fit. Because here's the truth. Saying yes to something that deeply calls you isn't like adding another chore to your list. It's not like baking 4 extra cakes for the school bake sale or saying yes to another stupid WhatsApp group. It's something completely different because it's a soul yes. And when we say yes to those things, we often get better at saying no to things that drain us. We get better at making space for what really matters to us, and we stop doing things that were not for us in the first place. So if something is tugging at your heart, maybe it's time. And no, you're not too much. You don't want too much, and this dream of yours, it's not too much for you either. Welcome back to the Doula Johanna podcast. I'm so glad that you're here. Today, I want to share something really personal. It's still really fresh in my mind because it just happened yesterday. And I think it might land with you because if you ever felt this quiet pull towards something meaningful, even when you're already juggling a lot, then this story might speak to you. Back in February, I applied for an advanced hospice training, and yesterday I had my interview. This episode is about more than that, though. It's really about what it means to say yes to something your soul is nudging you toward, even when life already feels super full. I had a moment before submitting the application where I thought, they are probably going to look at my life and say, well, nice try, but how on earth are you going to fit this in? You already have 2 jobs and 3 children. Like, when? How? And honestly, I would have understood. Not everyone gets in. There are way more people applying to this program than they have spots there. And those are wonderful people, like amazing people. And I know that they have to make smart choices, right? Like, if somebody applies, they want them to stay on. They want them to take the training and then keep volunteering their time for a long time. It doesn't make any sense to them to give the spots to people who will tell them 2 months later, oh, it's so much more than I thought. It's too much time, too stressful, whatever. So they have to make it work. And I was really worried that they would prefer to take on people who are in a much calmer phase of their life than I am. But I also knew if I don't even try, I would always regret it. So something shifted for me in that moment, and I said yes to myself. I told myself that I will throw my hat in the ring, and I reminded myself that this calling isn't like taking on another chore. It's something that matters to me and something that I feel will matter to more people than me. So after I hit submit on the application, I did something that I've learned over and over again through birth work. I let myself imagine the best case scenario, not in a super controlling way, but really feeling what it would be like if it did work out. If I got the email after the required interview or the letter that would tell me, yes, you have a spot, you can come here in fall and take the full training. I imagined how it would feel to step into this new chapter if I got to show up for people in this way. I let myself feel it fully, the joy, the excitement, and the alignment. And then I also did the second part, the part that is just as important but often gets overlooked. I made peace with the idea that it might not happen right now. I told myself, if they say no, it doesn't mean that this dream is off the table. It just means not this time, not this way. Something else will come. Maybe there's something this fall that I don't know about yet. Maybe I'm meant to rest. or go deeper elsewhere first. Maybe my energy will be needed somewhere else, and that's okay too. It's the same kind of surrender I've seen time and time again in birth. The mother that is hoping for the spontaneous, undisturbed home birth and still packs her hospital bag. The mother who visualizes a vaginal delivery and is still okay with the cesarean if it becomes the wisest path. It's not about giving up on what you want. It's really about letting go of the grip, about trusting that even if the route changes, you will still arrive. That kind of preparation where you hope but don't cling. It's powerful. It lets you walk into big moments feeling grounded instead of desperate, open instead of rigid. And that's how I wanted to feel during that interview. I wanted to trust their judgment, that if they would tell me, no, this is not the right time, that they might actually have the experience to judge that maybe better than I do. So let me tell you about the actual interview. It was just the three of us, the two course instructors, a man and a woman, and me. We met in this small, cozy room, nothing fancy, and I instantly felt their kindness and their warmth. They introduced themselves and told me a little bit about their roles in the Hospice Association here in Munich, and then they gently asked me to tell them who I am and what brought me here today. And I don't know if it was because I'd already told this story on this podcast or just because I had fully let go of any need to convince them, but I felt surprisingly calm, steady even. So I told them that being close to death has made me less afraid of it, that each time I've had the chance to sit with someone at the end of life, it hasn't pushed me away, it's drawn me in. It's helped me make peace with something that so many of us try to avoid. I shared how I got seriously ill at 25 and how that changed me, and how years later, working at the medical faculty here in Munich, I met Professor Claudia Bausewein, the director of the palliative care department at the LMU. She's a pioneer in the German hospice movement and a really brilliant, deeply compassionate woman who spent her career advocating for dignity and presence in dying. Meeting her brought all those old questions back up for me, and it brought back this desire to get into this deeper in a good way. And then I told them about how life unfolded, how I had my first two kids and I became a doula. And then while sitting at births, something clicked. That there was this feeling again, this sacred, intense threshold, a passing from one world to another. And it reminded me so much of being near death, the silence and the slowness, the way everything narrows down to the essential. I talked to them how the more I thought about it, the more I realized that how similar birth and death really are, how both have been pushed out of our homes and out of our daily conversations. Both often happen now in unfamiliar places, in clinics, surrounded by machines and protocols instead of people and presence. And I just told them how I felt in every part of me that this wasn't random, that supporting people at the start of life had prepared me to also be there at the end of it. When I finished sharing, they were really quiet for a moment, and then both of them just smiled at me. They said it made complete sense to them, that they could feel how serious I am and how clear this path is for me. And they asked a couple more thoughtful questions. One, for example, was whether it was a conscious choice to apply for adult hospice training instead of children's, given that my work so far has focused on babies. And secretly I thought, they don't really know what a doula is, do they? I told them, actually, my focus has always been the mother, the woman. And when I imagine doing hospice work in private homes, I still see her there. I see the daughter who's suddenly the caregiver, the mother who's holding both ends, her toddlers or teenagers, and her aging parents on the other side, with barely any pause to breathe in between. Women in this stage of life, they need support too, real, nourishing, grounded support. And I want to be part of that. They also asked me about my own family, how they feel about me doing this training. And I said that honestly, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do any of it without them. My husband, my dad, they've really had my back. And I don't take that for granted for a second. I know that without them really being on my side, without them understanding how important that is to me, I wouldn't be able to do it. Both of the instructors just kept smiling, and then they told me that I am in. They could say yes to me right away. No waiting for a letter or an email for another couple of weeks, just a yes. I left the conversation feeling elated, like this quiet kind of joy that was buzzing under my skin. I am so grateful for this opportunity. This next step just feels right, like something that's always been waiting for me, and I'm so excited about taking the training. And I'm also really looking forward to the volunteering part. A few days ago, I heard a podcast about the energy of money. I wish I remembered who said it. Maybe you know, or maybe I can think about it later. But the speaker said something that stayed with me ever since. He talked about the act of giving, that giving is actually so much more important than receiving. That when you give, even when you don't have much money yet, when instead of giving your money, you give your time or your care and your work, it makes you feel rich. It fills you. It's the stuff that you remember on your deathbed, right? Like very few people will say on their deathbed, I wish I would have made so much more money. But they are so happy about all the time they spent with family and all the times they made someone happy. They remember those things. And I thought, yes, that's exactly it. When I think about doing hospice work with families in my neighborhood, it makes me feel rich and it makes me feel alive. Right now, giving my time to hospice work feels so aligned, like I'm planting something, not just for others, but for myself too. Because when we give with open hands, something shifts inside of us. It reminds us that we have something to give, that we are rich in that way. If you are listening to this though, and feel like you're already stretched thin, maybe with small kids, too much work and all this mental load, please hear this. You're already giving. Every time you soothe a child or show up tired but loving or make space for someone else's needs, that is giving. That is sacred. Please don't think that I want to force you to become a soccer coach. Like, you're most likely fine and already giving so much. Maybe this invitation isn't to do more, but to notice what you're already offering and let that feel valuable. Let that feel enough. Giving doesn't always mean adding something. Sometimes it means recognizing the love that's already flowing through you and letting yourself be nourished by that too. But if you are standing at the edge of something right now, a training, a big move, a tough conversation, a new direction, and it all feels like a lot, maybe you can borrow a little bit of trust from me today. Maybe you're more ready than you think. And if you need support navigating this transition, feel free to reach out. You can book one-on-one sessions with me if you need a doula holding your hand through this idea pregnancy. I'll be back next Friday with a new episode. Until then, take care and remember to be your own life doula.